Imagine this. You're stuck in traffic. You're late. Your heart's pounding. And then someone cuts you off. Instantly, your chest tightens. Your jaw clenches. Your mind already racing. You could hit the horn, curse the universe. Let the chaos outside take over the calm inside. Or you could pause, take a breath, and in that breath, choose. Choose not to react, but to respond. That tiny space between what happens and what you do next, that's where your power lives. That's where Stoicism begins. See, life doesn't wait. It throws curveballs, noise, pressure, drama. But what if you didn't have to get swept away every time? What if you could stand steady, calm in the storm because you've trained your mind to stay anchored? That's what we're diving into today. This isn't about suppressing emotions or pretending to be unbothered. It's about owning your response. It's about learning to steer your own mind like a captain with steady hands and clear sight even when the waters rise. Welcome to the Stoic path, where ancient wisdom meets your everyday life and shows you how to rise above the noise with clarity, purpose, and unshakable inner strength. React versus respond. The first step to mental freedom. Let's get honest for a second. Most of us, we react. We snap at a comment. We send that angry text. We stew in silence. All because something outside of us triggered something inside and we didn't pause to choose. That's a reaction. It's fast. It's automatic. It's usually fueled by emotion, not reason. And more often than not, it leaves us with regret. Now contrast that with a response. A response is slower, calmer. It's deliberate. It's not about being cold or detached. It's about being rooted, grounded, awake. The Stoics nailed this distinction centuries ago. Epictetus said it best. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. And Marcus Aurelius, writing to himself in the quiet hours of the night, reminded us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. That's the truth. You can't always control what the world throws at you, but you can control how you show up to meet it. And that choice, that's the difference between living on autopilot and living with intention. When you react, the world pulls your strings. When you respond, you hold the reins. It's a subtle shift, but it changes everything. This is where Stoicism begins to transform your life, not in some grand philosophical lecture, but in the small, ordinary moments when someone disappoints you, when plans fall through, when life feels unfair. In those moments, you get to decide, will I react out of habit or respond with wisdom? And that decision, day by day, is how you build the kind of life that stands strong even when the world shakes. Why mastering your response is essential in today's world. Let's be real. We're living in a world that's constantly poking at our emotions. Scroll through your phone for 5 minutes and you'll see what I mean. Outrage, urgency, clickbait, opinions dressed up as facts. Everyone demands your attention and your reaction. We're not just bombarded with information, we're being baited to react. And if we're not careful, we become puppets pulled by every headline, every notification, every careless word from someone who's having a bad day. It's exhausting. When you live in reaction mode, everything feels like an emergency. You're always on edge, always defending, always chasing peace, but never quite reaching it. But here's the truth the Stoics knew thousands of years ago, and it's even more crucial today. You don't have to live that way. You can reclaim your mind. You can respond, not react. And when you do, you stop being a victim of your environment and start becoming the master of your experience. Responding doesn't mean being passive. It means being present. It means pausing long enough to ask, is this worth my energy? Is this within my control? What would the wiser version of me choose here? That's where your power is. In the pause, in the choice. And the more you practice it, the more resilient you become, not just emotionally, but mentally, spiritually, relationally. Because when you respond with clarity and intention, you stop pouring gasoline on the fire. You bring water, you bring calm, you bring wisdom, and in a chaotic world that's not just rare, it's revolutionary. How to train your mind like a Stoic. Here's something most people never tell you. Staying calm isn't natural. It's trained. Just like building muscle at the gym, building mental discipline takes reps daily, deliberate practice. The good news? Stoicism hands us the tools, a playbook forged in the fire of real life. Let's walk through the core exercises, 3 mental reps to start right now. First, self-awareness. Sounds simple, right? But how often do we really notice our thoughts as they arise? Most of us don't. We are swept away by them like leaves in the wind. But the Stoics knew, until you see your thoughts clearly, you can't lead them anywhere wise. So pause, notice, name what you're feeling. I'm tense, I'm angry, I'm making up a story in my head. This is where your power begins, not in changing the feeling, but in seeing it without judgment. Second, the pause. This is the sacred space between trigger and action, and it's where the Stoic lives. You don't have to react the moment something happens. You don't need to match the world's urgency. Take a breath. Take 5. Walk away for a minute if you need to. Marcus Aurelius talked about it often, how within each of us is a retreat, a place we can go to think, to choose to respond with virtue. This pause, it's your doorway to freedom. Third, reflection. After the moment passes, reflect. Ask yourself, was that the best I could offer? What would a wiser version of me do next time? This isn't about beating yourself up. It's about showing up again tomorrow stronger, more intentional, more you. The Stoics made this a daily habit, examining their day, their choices, their moments of triumph and temptation. Because that's how growth happens. Quietly, consistently, through practice. You won't get it perfect, and you don't need to. You just need to show up to train your mind like a muscle. And over time, you'll find that you don't just respond better, you become better. The power of the pause. Find strength in self-awareness. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius didn't just write those words to inspire others. He wrote them as a reminder to himself. A man leading an empire facing wars, plagues, betrayal, still reminding himself to return to his own mind, to that inner fortress of calm. And that's where it begins for us too, with self-awareness. Think about the last time something pushed your buttons. Maybe someone criticized you or plans fell apart. Did you feel the heat rising in your chest? The tension in your jaw? That's your cue. Because the moment you notice, the moment you say, "Whoa, I'm triggered right now," you've already taken the first step toward freedom. That awareness, that's your opening. And now comes the pause. It doesn't need to be long. A breath, a beat. Just enough space to keep the emotion from grabbing the wheel. Because let's be honest, most damage in life isn't caused by what happens, but by what we do next. The pause gives you back your power. You can still feel everything. This isn't about shutting off or numbing out. The Stoics didn't deny emotions, they understood them, then chose whether to act on them. So next time you're in the thick of it, angry, anxious, overwhelmed, try this. Pause, breathe, feel your feet on the ground, and ask, what would the wisest version of me do right now? That single breath can be the difference between reaction and reason, between regret and resilience. Over time, this becomes your habit, your default, your quiet strength. You stop being ruled by passing emotions and start living by deeper values. That's not just stoic, that's powerful. Before we jump into lesson 5, take a moment to do me a small favor. Hit like, subscribe, and share this message. Your simple action can help more people who are struggling with this issue find the content they need. Thank you for being a part of this. Shift your perspective. Reframe to regain control. Life isn't easy. You know that. I know that. The Stoics knew it better than anyone. They didn't walk around pretending everything was fine. They faced hardship, betrayal, sickness, even death, and still chose to meet each moment with clarity and courage. How? By changing their perspective, not the world, but the way they saw the world. See, you can't always control what happens, but you can control the lens you look through, and that lens changes everything. A delay. It's not just an inconvenience, it's your training ground for patience. Someone disrespects you. That's not a personal attack. It's your moment to practice humility, to show that your character isn't shaken by noise. A failure. Painful, yes, but also full of insight. A disguised teacher showing you where to grow. That's the power of reframing. It's not about sugarcoating reality. It's about stepping back like Marcus Aurelius did and asking, is this really as bad as it feels? What's the opportunity hidden here? You begin to see that challenges aren't just obstacles, they're invitations. Invitations to rise above your instinct, to grow in strength, wisdom, and resilience. Reframing doesn't mean denying the pain. It means owning your narrative. Choosing to tell a different story. One where you're not the victim of life, but the author of your experience. That mindset, that's freedom. Because when you refocus on what you can control, your attitude, your effort, your choices, you stop wasting energy on what you can't. And that's the Stoic shift, from reactivity to response, from helplessness to purpose. The world may still throw curveballs, but now you're the one holding the bat. Everyday mindfulness, the Stoic way. You might think mindfulness is a modern buzzword, something that belongs in yoga studios or meditation apps. But the truth is, The Stoics were practicing it over 2,000 years ago. They didn't call it mindfulness, they called it awareness, reason, living according to nature. But the spirit was the same. Be present, be conscious, be fully here. Marcus Aurelius used to journal quietly each morning, reflecting on what the day might bring. That wasn't just therapy. It was training, a mental warm-up, a way to center himself before stepping into the chaos. Epictetus taught his students to pay attention not just to the world, but to their own inner workings, their reactions, their thoughts, their impulses. That's mindfulness. And you don't need a retreat or a special cushion to do it. You just need to notice. Notice your breath when it quickens. Notice your body tensing when you're stressed. Notice your thoughts spinning stories that might not be true. And then gently bring yourself back to this breath, back to this step, back to this conversation. Why? Because now this very moment is the only place where you have any power. You can't act in the past. You can't choose in the future, but you can respond now. And every time you come back to the present, you strengthen that stoic muscle, the ability to stay grounded no matter what life throws your way. Try it the next time you're doing something simple. Washing dishes, taking a walk, drinking coffee. Be fully there, not lost in thought, not rushing to the next thing. That's how the Stoics lived, with eyes wide open, with minds steady, with hearts aligned to what mattered most. Mindfulness isn't about escaping life, it's about entering it more fully. And in doing so, you'll discover what the Stoics knew. All along, peace isn't found in perfect circumstances. It's found in presence. Real-life Stoicism, responding with grace under pressure. Let's bring this down to earth. It's one thing to talk about Stoicism in theory, but where it really matters is in life, in traffic, at work, in arguments, in the tiny unscripted moments that test who you are. Picture this. Your boss snaps at you in a meeting. No warning, no good reason, just heat. The old you defensive, maybe you bite back. Or worse, stew in silence, replaying it for days. But the new you, the trained mind, you pause. You feel the rise of emotion, sure. But you don't let it drive the bus. You breathe, you anchor yourself. You respond not to hurt, not to win, but to understand, to clarify, to protect your peace. Or imagine your partner forgets something important again. You feel that sting, that inner script firing up. They don't care. They never listen. But now, instead of withdrawing or lashing out, you reflect. You choose to speak honestly but kindly. You respond in a way that builds connection, not walls. See, every moment becomes a practice ground. Every frustration, a chance to train patience. Every misunderstanding, a chance to practice empathy. Every disappointment, a moment to test your resilience. This is how Stoicism comes alive, not in some grand display, but in small, steady acts of inner mastery. It's in how you answer the phone when you're tired. It's in how you treat the barista when the line is long. It's in how you talk to yourself when you mess up. You don't need a toga or a temple. You just need to show up with presence, with reason, with intention. Because when you do, Stoicism stops being a concept and becomes a way of living, a way of responding not from ego or emotion, but from values, from strength, from peace. And the more you do it, the more natural it becomes, until one day someone asks, How do you stay so calm and you'll smile knowing it's not magic? It's just practice. Build Stoic habits that rewire your reactions. Let's get practical. You've learned the ideas. You've felt the truth of them. Now it's time to live them. Because real change doesn't happen in a single moment of insight. It happens through daily practice. So here's your Stoic toolkit. Simple, grounded, powerful. First morning reflection. Start your day on purpose. Before the noise creeps in, ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be today? Where might I be tested, and how will I respond? This isn't about scripting the perfect day. It's about setting a tone, a mindset, a quiet commitment to respond with wisdom, not impulse. Second evening journaling. At the end of the day, pause and look back. What went well? Where did you hold the pause and where did you lose it? What can you learn for tomorrow? The Stoics did this every single night. It wasn't guilt-tripping, it was clarity, it was growth, and it gave them the feedback loop they needed to live intentionally. Third anchor questions. When things get tough, and they will come back to your anchors. Is this within my control? What virtue does this moment call for? These questions are your compass. They strip away the noise and bring you back to what matters. You'll be amazed at how much falls away, how many emotional storms lose their grip when you simply ask, is this mine to carry together? These habits create a kind of mental reset. They rewire your default mode, and over time, you'll notice you react less. You respond more. You feel more grounded, more you. Because Stoicism isn't a one-time fix. It's a daily rhythm, a return again and again to your best self. So build these habits like a craftsman sharpens his tools, not with pressure, but with care. This is how you train your mind, not all at once, not perfectly, but daily. And in that steady, quiet effort, something powerful takes root. Every single day you make choices. Most of them are quiet, barely noticeable, a glance, a thought, a reaction. But over time, those small moments shape the direction of your life. And here's what the Stoics knew. You are not your anger. You are not your fear. You are not your first impulse. You are the space between what happens and what you choose to do next. That's where your freedom lives. So don't rush past it. Step into it. Train your mind to pause, reflect, and respond, not from ego, but from purpose. Because the goal isn't to be perfect, it's to be present. To respond with reason, to act with virtue, and to live from the inside out. This is the Stoic path. It's not just ancient wisdom, it's a daily invitation to be a little steadier, a little wiser, a little more you. Thank you for walking this path with me today. And remember, every moment is practice. So the next time life tests you, and it will pause, then choose to respond. If this message resonated with you, if it helped you breathe a little deeper or think a little clearer, consider subscribing. This channel is a space for reflection, growth, and timeless wisdom. Every like, share, or comment helps spread that Stoic calm to someone who might need it right now. So, if you know someone navigating a storm, feel free to pass it on. And as always, thank you for walking the Stoic path with us.